Hello, good evening. So I am Monk Pasura. So I'll be sharing the sessions with all of you. And this is what I have prepared for today. Now what I have on the screen would be what is so-called in the teaching of the Buddha. Actually, what the Buddha discover on the enlightenment is so-called the Four Noble Truth. And the Four Noble Truth is basically the essence of the whole Buddhist teachings. All up to the extent that everything that Buddha explained 45 years afterward is actually the elaboration or explanations of these Four Noble Truths. And among Four Noble Truths, the last part is the so-called the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path, starting from having the right view, all the way to right intent and right speech, as I show on the screen. Point being is that everything that start from having the right view, because the right view or right mindset or the right perspective is actually the understanding that or kind of theory that we have for ourselves. From whatever I believe in as my own theory or my personal mindset, it will dictate what kind of intentions that I will do for my life. And from that intention, it transforms into verbal action, physical action, the livelihood that I will apply. And when I put more effort in trying to develop all those aspects of my life, I become more mindful with myself. And mindfulness leads to concentration of the mind. Concentration of the mind leads to mental clarity, which means it helped me to understand myself and the situation around me better, including understanding the perspective or the theory that I have set for myself better. And that would also lead to a better or stronger intent, speech, livelihood, and all the way to reaching the state of enlightenment. So that being said, you see that the important part is to develop the right view. One thing that I really show on the screen, which is roughly to explain that in the way that the Buddha explanation and the way that called the Buddhist way of thinking is always leading to this kind of order from simple to the hardest part or slowly from easy to difficult. And like, for example, develop so-called the right view and the right intent is about having wisdom. By the speech, action, and livelihood is about the body discipline, which is the precepts. Effort and meditation, mindfulness is actually from concentration. But to break it down, it's actually down into discipline, respect, and patience. So you can see that we can actually break it down into some more common concept, and that's actually all the way to leading into our life. The other part that is actually quite important to notice here is that in order for us to develop so-called the right view, it comes from two main components. The first one is so-called the analytical thinking. In Pali, it's called Yoniso Manasikan. And the other one is listening to the others. The listening to others actually means not just listening, but it means everything that we have from the external sources, whether it can come from the book, it can come from your friends, your teachers, anything that we have receiving as an information. It actually becomes the main source. Well, when it combined with our own way of analytical thinking, it helps us to understand and develop into our right view. And that's why one of the teachings of the Buddha in so-called Mangala Sutra or the 38 Blessing of Life, starting from not associating with the fools and associating with the wise. So the kind of crowd or the kind of human environment that we are surrounding ourselves with has an effect on the way we shape our mindset, has an effect on the way that we shape our thought, our theory, our perspective. There's actually a saying goes in Thailand that cows go with cows, birds go with birds. Anything that share like-minded tend to go together. So that means that if I put myself in the group of people that always lead me to more, spiritual activity, I will get a lot more information and knowledge from them and from people around me that are speaking about something more spiritual On the other hand, if I'm, people who want to have more fun, I will just get different types of information. I'm not being judgmental about what is good and bad. I'm just saying it's different the way we are surrounding ourselves with different people. But that, when we combine with our way of Yoniso Manasikara or analytical thinking, it will shape our mindset. And that is the second part that we need to develop. You see that the first part is the external part. What kind of environment that we put ourselves in, what kind of environment that we expose ourselves to, that can lead up into obtaining more positive information all the way to having more knowledgeable or even all the way to role model. One of the aspects in the way so-called process of learning that the Buddha explained, the very first one is find good teacher. And basically, a teacher is a role model. When you find something that can be a good example that we can follow, that will help us to really lead up to develop the better right view as well. But the second part is the analytical thinking, and that's actually quite important because the Yoniso Manasikara in Pali, if you break it down in terms of the Pali words, you can see the word yoni means womb, or the other word means origin. Mana means mind, and kara means action. So basically, when I translate these words, Yoniso Manasikara, that explained as analytical thinking, it actually means direct attention to find the root cause. And that is important because in the way of the Buddha explanation, he always explained things in chronological order. So what is the cause of this? What is the result of that? Is always one after this, one after this, doing that. And that actually become one thing that be part of the mindset to look and investigate whatever happened to us. So for example, this is actually taken from one of the sutras called Avijja Sutra. You see that he actually started off that, we have avijja or ignorance as what clouds us to have the knowledge about the truth. Because of ignorance, what caused ignorance? What is the food of ignorance? Or because of 5 hindrances of meditation, which indulging in sensual pleasure, ill will, sloth, restlessness, and doubt. So these hinder us from, this is the food for ignorance. And what is the food for hindrances? Then he explained the 3 evil conducts from bodily conducts, verbal, and mental evil conducts. And what is the food of evil conducts? Or lack of sense restraint. And lack of sense restraint means look at things we shouldn't be looking at, hearing things that we shouldn't be listening to, tasting or smelling things that we shouldn't be exposed to. And what is the food of lack of sense restraint? Oh, I don't have enough mindfulness and situational awareness. So I'm not being mindful enough. As a result of that, I let my eyes go into things that I shouldn't be reading, I shouldn't be looking at. And then what will be causing me not to have so much mindfulness? Unwise analytical reflection. And as I explained to you, it's about finding the root cause, which means I don't have the access, the attention to put down and trying to find what is going on, investigate what is the root cause of it. And why I don't have that? Because I don't have the strong belief in my own action, which is the karma. Faith in Buddhism is about faith in our action, or faith in the karma. And why I don't have the faith in the karma? Because lack listening of the truth. And why I don't listen to the truth? Because people around me are not talking about the truth. So you see, actually, this is one the way of the Buddha will explain. And if you get a chance to read out the sutras, you will see that every explanation that the Buddha make usually are this kind of chronological order, from one to the next, one to the next. The part of my showing this would be that what I experienced from myself, from all of the good teachers and good master from the meditation, one thing that they have in very much in common would be the way they're dealing, they're feeling so calm, regardless of what the situation they are facing. Then that's actually important in a way that because of their being so calm, they can actually deal with everything a lot easier. But the reason they're being so calm because whenever something happens with them, they actually have this analytical thinking or investigating all the way to the root cause. The master nun who found my temple, she actually has this, even she never been to school, she couldn't read and write. But she's always have this kind of mindset. One example that is actually reflect on her physical action as well is that, in the temple, she was actually removing weeds, grasses and weeds and that don't belong in the area, sort of thing. It was her way of doing the gardening and stuff. And, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to just plug it out and that will be done. But the way my master then did was completely different. For her, she actually tried to trace down even the root of those weeds all the way, and sometimes it went further, 5 to 10 meters away from where it grows. And she's going to kind of slowly digging all the way, pull all the roots out, and she finally laid out on the road just to dry them before throwing them away so that they couldn't grow back again. That's actually kind of weird way when I was hearing my master explain her habit of doing so. But my master explained that this is just one thing that she would do. Whenever she does something, she always going back to the root cause of everything. And that's actually how I see that whatever we have as our habit in the physical aspect is going to go down into our mental habit as well. As a result of that, you can see that in the Buddhist practice, where we wanted to talk about meditation, obtaining inner peace, developing loving kindness, be more compassionate and generous. All of these actually are the things that we develop in our mind. But it cannot be developed unless we also put it down into the physical aspect, because body and mind come together. Even I show you the evil action, there will be physical, verbal, and mental. So whenever we want to develop something, even to seek inner peace, it's always come back down to the physical level. And that's why, as for the starting point, mindfulness would be the very good foundation, an important foundation, so that we can always be aware of what's going on with us. And that pause moment is the moment that we can apply that analytical thinking process. What happened with me? This is good or this is bad? Should I direct my attention somewhere else? What is the cause of this that made me upset right now? Should I continue indulging with that or engaging with that? Or should I just back it out and let it go? So those are actually something that we can develop as a practice. Whenever we start to do it more and more often, it's actually help us to realize the truth around us a lot easier. And the moment that we realize those truths, is the moment we can let them go the way they are. People usually think that when I'm saying letting go means I'm not taking responsibilities. I'm not just ignoring what I need to do. It's actually not the way. It's about letting go of things that make me upset, things that beyond my control, things that beyond my ability to change, and focus on what I can do. And that's why faith in action or faith in the karma means I can focus what I have to do for myself that constitute to maintain the values I believe in. So this is what I just wanted to leave it for you for tonight as some way to see that how you can use all these understanding of analytical thinking in the Buddhist approach to being investigative about yourself. But there is actually one big but condition. Everything that we can use for the analytical thinking must come from clear mind, because otherwise we will be biased with whatever we see until it's easier to blame someone or something for what's wrong with me, right? So when our mind becomes clear, we actually not being so biased, and that when we look at it, on a realistic approach and slowly investigate why all this happened. So I can find out what is my part that is wrong in that situation, and that can help me to overcome all of that and finally moving on to where I can feel happier about my life. So it's just a little bit that I wanted to share with you for tonight. So Evelyn said she had a light and good feeling during meditation. At some point, didn't feel the body. It's fantastic. That's actually good meditation. That's very good. Juliet said thank you. Kathleen said thank you. Peaceful. Very good. So, okay. I think should be at the top of the hours. If you have any question, feel free to put that in the chat. Otherwise, I'll be happy to share this session with you, and it's been a pleasure to meditate with all of you tonight. Please keep up with your practice, because the only way that we can be better in the practice of meditation is consistency. This is actually one of the key factors to maintain it. Our body constantly be in need of treatment. We need to take shower, we need to take vitamins, we need to sleep. So our mind will need the same treatment. So even short minutes before sleep, after get up, here and there, can make a lot of difference in your day. So don't skip them. Even sometimes you may be having a long day, you may be a bit tired, try to keep up with the practice. That's what I would encourage you to do. So for tonight, thank you very much for sharing this session with us, and look forward to see all of you again next time.